All right, what's up? So I told you guys that I wasn't going to review BMF, but I do have my partner from TSF Entertainment, D Jackson. If y'all follow the podcast, y'all know who I'm talking about. You got a face to put with the voice now. But we're going to go ahead and just talk about episodes 1, 2, and 3 of what's been going on. So BMF, if you're not familiar, BMF is Black Mafia Family, right? That's what it stands for, Damon.
Like Mafia Family, yep.
All right, and this based on the true story of two brothers out of Detroit, Big Meech. You've probably heard that name in rap songs and the legend, the myth that is Big Meech. And it's based on their story, their origins, how they got started, the empire, that kind of thing. Now we know that the show has already been renewed for season 2, so we're going to at least get 2 seasons of this. But we're just going to talk about episodes 1, 2, and 3. So episode 1 starts off. We see the brothers. We see how they living. Like we can definitely tell money's tight. They have a little sister. Both of their parents are together. So sort of breaking that myth of, oh, I came from a single mom, whatever, whatever. Father very much in the home. They're both very spiritual. The parents are very spiritual. And we see how they really kind of how they got started. Meech was already sort of not going to school, and he hooked up with the neighborhood drug dealer. Now you from Detroit, so
Right.
what's your first impressions? Like, I mean, not to
Well,
get too much into the storyline, but what are your first impressions on how you feel about the whole thing so far?
starting out, it was brilliant. To me, that's because I'm from Detroit. Like in the beginning, you see Big Meech kind of it look like he walking through like an alleyway, and he meet his man's up, at the at the old neighborhood or whatever. Then throw like a whole little party for him or whatever for coming back.
Right, it's coming
Which
home.
Yeah, for coming home from wherever, because actually Big Meech was like stationed out as he got older and we get further into it. He ended up going to Atlanta, and
Yeah.
living in Atlanta. So I guess that's kind of like his first visit back, and then he got a backpedal to what he got him there. But you see the party, it was like it was so Detroit. People out there jitting, barbecuing. Well, jitting is a dance that's really of Detroit. It's almost like the Indians. It's almost like the Indians native dance. Jitting is kind of like our thing, as far as
Hmm.
that goes. So as far as them capturing like the soul of Detroit, I loved it. Even with the father, it seemed like he was working at a plant,
Yeah,
which
yeah, that's what
Detroit
it looks like.
being
Yeah.
Motown, so it seemed like he was working at a plant. Even though the plant was supposed to be like the way out for a lot of people who was living in poverty, it didn't seem like that was the case for them. The sister Nicole, the father name was Charles, the mom name was Lucille, and the sister Nicole. But you can see that they struggling just like pretty much every black neighborhood in Detroit was at that time.
Because we're talking about mid late 80s, early
Yeah,
90s.
yep.
Okay. All right. So we see that from the very beginning, Meech really wasn't trying to get his brother into it. But the brother was like, if you going, I'm going. Like
Right.
if you in, I'm in.
Right.
And from the very beginning. And so you see that, they pretty much started off, look like they started off kind of like, now this is my biggest complaint with episode 1 is it seemed to go really fast. Like 1 minute they just, they getting put on. The
Mm-hmm.
next minute they got packages. And it's like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, we missed something
We
here.
did.
Like, you
Yeah.
know, it seemed like it went really fast. And I understand that it may be nothing eventful happened. Like they just was corner boys that worked their way up. Like it may not have been that deep, but it just seemed like it was like 1 minute this happened, and then like fast forward. All right, we rolling in Benzes and you know what I'm saying? Like,
I would have loved to see the in between time. I'm not mad at the fast forward because um a lot of people don't really know about their childhood. They only see like they for the most part they saw the back end of it. They never
mhm,
really got even this middle part of it from them being at Southwestern High School and from them rolling with the 50 boys and any of that type of stuff. So a lot of people, unless you're from Detroit, a lot of people never even knew about that portion of it. and don't even know anything about, how they even got to this point. It would have been nice to see it, but I'm not mad at it.
Okay. Because for me, that's kind of, it just seemed like it went. The other thing that I thought was really interesting was, and this comes from growing up in the drug culture in DC. Like when I say growing up in the drug culture, like I wasn't a drug dealer, nothing, but seeing it all around me growing up in DC during that time period. And I thought it was interesting how they were living in the house, they were driving Benzes, they had jewelry, they had nice clothes, and the parents were like, it was like they knew, but they didn't know, didn't want to accept. Like it was really weird because I'm like, why are y'all sitting here acting like y'all don't know what these boys are doing? Like,
Well, like if you look at it, when they got older, it just seemed like, for the most part, Charles, which was Big Meat's, father in the, in the series, it seemed like he kind of already knew what Big Meat was doing, but he just was kind of like, I'm gonna ignore it, but I'm not gonna ignore it because you're my son. And it just seemed like they was leaning more towards Southwest T, which is Terry. They was leaning more towards him because he was getting good grades in school,
and
all
it was
of the
almost like they didn't believe that he was involved because, well, he's still in school and he's doing this and doing that.
right.
And I'm like, but clearly both of them.
They was pretty fitting image, except for one was in school. When they
Right.
was sitting at the table, the mom was like, so talking to Big Me, she was like, so when you gonna bring my grandkid by, or whatever, which that could possibly be the person who's playing Big Meats now. That's Little Meats, so it's
Right.
possibly that person. But she was like, when you gonna bring my grandkid by?
Mm-hmm.
We further down, they like, well, he's on the honor roll. We find out he's on the honor roll, but we also find out that he also had a kid on the way. And
Right.
so he didn't wear the chain or dress proper, as his dad said at the dinner table, but I think they was kind of aware, but they
It
just
was
kind of
weird.
like,
Yeah.
right, they just kind of just swept it up under the table.
Yeah, definitely that. Definitely that. So in the first episode, we're really just getting a lay of the land. We'll meet. So the character that's played by oh shoot, Wood Harris.
Yeah,
So Wood Harris plays the drug dealer that put them on. What's his
yeah.
name? I don't have my name in front
His,
of me, but
his name is Pat in the series.
Pat in the series. So Pat put them on. And
Mm-hmm.
Pat is, their mentor, but by the end of episode 1, we see that the brothers are aspiring to basically be either on Pat's level or exceed Pat. So we see that that's where they're trying to get to. We see they got their own little crew, which includes a female, so she got,
50
but we
boy.
also see that the nemesis, the nemesis that seems to be throwing a whole lot of shit in the sauce for a lot of what's going on, just got out of a mental institute, and he comes home and he's like, whoa, wait, whoa. Like everything didn't change. Like my crew has
Lamar
split up. Yeah, say his name again.
Lamar Silas.
Yes, Lamar Silas. And so that seems to be the nemesis. Meech is sleeping with, dating, whatever, his ex girl, his baby moms. So that's going to already be a conflict, already be a problem. Um, and it looks like Meech and Big T are in a conflict with another crew.
The crew today was a conflict with was the 12th Street Boys. The 12th Street Boys
Yeah,
was a lot. It was a lot deeper than the 50 Boys. It was
yeah.
a lot deeper than 50 Boys. So they really couldn't go to war with them like that, in the physical sense. But that's why I think like not Big T, Southwest T and Big Meech showed kind of like their brilliance, because they wasn't really about war. They was about making money. So as far as Lamar Silas go, Lamar Silas just seemed like he was a typical dude that he was on at first. He fell off, went to jail, and now he tried to get back everything that he feels as though he lost.
Mm-hmm.
So now that Big Meech, especially Big Meech, just he hitting his girl, who even seems like to me he's been taking care of the daughter. Like he want to get back in that position. He want to get back in that position of power. I'm not really sure why he actually went after the 50, why he went after the 50 Boys instead of going against 12th Street. Maybe because it was a numbers thing. It was probably easier for him to go against the 50 Boys. But if he was crazy like they say he was, it seemed like he wouldn't have gave a shit no way. But he a wild card.
Definitely a wild card. Now I'm gonna push back a little bit on what you just said, because you said the brilliance of the brothers. I think when you look at them and you look at their personalities and you see it, as we're on episode 3 now, you see it going through each episode. Southwest T was a lot more of a hothead because he was ready to go to war. Meech was the one that was like, we don't have the manpower for that. We not ready for that. Like, we need to go ahead. If they want them corners, we'll take the park. Let them have them corners. We good. And so, but I see that it seems like Southwest T was always ready for the fight, but Meech seemed like the one that was more of a thinker, even though Southwest T was the one still in school and making good grades, and Meech was the one that had dropped out. But it definitely, like, even with the whole thing with them getting kicked out the house, he had the gun. Meech was like, "Get rid of the damn gun! Like, why do you have a gun?
Right.
What is wrong with you?" So
Right.
I feel like I definitely feel like both of them had their areas of expertise, what they brought to the organization, but it did seem like the T was a lot more of a hothead. Even at the end of the first episode, we see they had his baby moms, they had the baby shower and all of that, and at the end of the episode, he gets shot.
Right, but I think that's why that beast made a marriage, because it was like, okay, yeah, Big Meech didn't want the physical altercation. He knew that war brings cops that's supposed to throw money down. But Southwest T was smart enough to say, if we go to Kobo, I got a person in there just in case something pops off. I can bring this gun in. When it was at the park, and Kato, who was the female who was cutting prices at the time because they wasn't making any money, doing they trademark 50-pack sales, because that's how they got the 50 Boys name, selling off they 50 bags.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, this could have been something that we could have marketed on. We could market on selling this to the most popular fiend out here, and then she could do the talking and market it itself. Taking it back to the Cobo Hall situation in the very beginning, when they was walking through the metal detectors, Southwest T saw that a plant worker had a pipe, which we further go down the line. Southwest T was kind of the mastermind behind that. It was his idea that brought it to Big Meech's attention. They just got put in the jam, so he kind of, had to use that to fast forward some things. But that's why I think they kind of made a marriage until their demise, because Southwest T had this type of smarts and Big Meech had this type of smarts.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree that they both brought something to the table. I agree with you on that. So
yeah.
So in the first episode, they really giving us the lay of the land. They letting us know that they got their own crew, but we definitely see that there's trouble brewing between them and the 12th Street Boys. And now we got Lamar out, and again, he's that wild card. We see he's sort of infiltrating himself into 12th Street Boys, and I mean, he's up to no good from the word go. You know what I'm saying? But we definitely see that he's doing that. Now, again, like I said, at the end of the first episode, we end the first episode with Southwest T getting shot, right? And of course, it leaves it kind of open. I mean, he doesn't die because it's based on a true story, so he's not dead. So episode 2 is a lot of it's about Meech's response to the shooting and family conflict, because now the family now is blaming Meech, like, you got him in this. He almost, he about to die, or he could die because of the lifestyle you introduced. Again, it's like they're not putting anything on T to say, listen, you made this decision to be a part of this life, right?
Right.
We also know that they got a cop in their back pocket who's played by Wood Harris's brother.
Yeah.
And so they sort of have they have a cop in their back pocket that looks out for them. We'll get to episode 3. He looks out for them. He looks out for them until he can't really.
Right.
Of course, everybody automatically assumes that the person who shot T came from 12th Street Boys.
Right.
So the whole episode is about, and Meech is walking a tightrope because he's walking the tightrope between, I can't really afford to start a war because I know I don't have the manpower, but my crew is looking at me like, you need to get
Respond.
retribution for your brother getting shot.
Yeah.
But so I mean, I don't know. I mean, tell me from your perspective as a native Detroiter, like what are you seeing in this?
The crazy thing is, like, even growing up listening to, BMF this and other, I didn't know about the shooting until I actually saw, the episode. Um, he was pretty much, the episode was pretty much like, yo, I gotta respond, and people tell him that they gotta respond. What I found interesting is the way Lamar Silas stirred that up to make it seem like the leader of 12th Street, J-Mo, had something to do with it. And I
Right.
think like stirred that up in order to kind of, yo, did I lose you?
No, I got you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
he kind of positioned himself back in, he tried to position himself back in to get in that position, to put himself in the position of power, especially with a crew that was that deep. So
Yeah.
he just figured that, let me stir this up, said that J Mo was the one that put the hit on him because he talked to old boy, I can't remember his name. He talked to old boy, which it seemed like he used to run with him back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah. He sounded like he used to be part of his crew. Yeah.
Yeah, and he put the bug in his ear. He ended up spreading the word. It got around town, and then once at that point, once you get around town like that, you got to respond. Right or
Yeah.
wrong, it's right or wrong. You just got to respond. And I
Right.
think that's the way that episode, was going, and it leads to the consequences behind that too. But I just think that Big Meech was kind of like, he was a loose cannon, but he was still kind of cautious about how he was moving.
He was a loose cannon, but again, he's thinking this through. Like he knew. So let's go back a little bit. He was
Mm-hmm.
conscious enough to feel like, okay, I think we might be at war right now. So he moved his stash house, right? He was conscious about moving the stash house. In the meantime, something we see all the time happening in power, his work is sort of drying up a little bit. He can't
Mm-hmm.
move anything. He's not selling anything. And he's really taking his focus off of the business. And the whole time his brother is telling him, focus on the money. Like, what are you doing? You out here running the streets doing what? You need to be out. You need to be making sure that the money is right so that we can, get our money together. Because again, we're gonna see in episode 3 how his focus was so much on the streets and finding out who shot his brother that it got him in trouble in episode 3. Which actually
Mm-hmm.
ended up working out for him, but we'll get to that.
Right.
So, but his crew, we see what was the girl's name again? J-Mo?
Kato.
Kato, right. We
Yeah.
see Kato, and we see his boy. We see the two of them are really working together. They've got a little sexual tension there. Huh?
Kato and B Mickey.
Yeah, be Mickey. And we see there's a little sexual tension there, but she lets him know, listen, I'm a girl in a man's world. Like I can't afford to get caught up in no romance. I can't afford for people to see me as weak because unfortunately for women, that it is a sign of weakness. Like, oh, she messing with him or she got caught up, and then you don't even want a reputation. You don't want none of that. So they
He was right.
feeling each other, but she's letting him know, listen, I feel it what you feeling, but this ain't about to happen. Like this ain't about to happen.
If I can, let me rewind it once. Let me rewind it one time because
Go ahead, rewind.
with Lamar Silas, like you saw in the first episode, where Lamar Silas was kind of hanging out around his ex house or whatever, who's Cashed Out. Shout out to Cashed Out, by the way. She's from Detroit too. But
Yeah. Cash Doll definitely did that.
yeah, so you see him hanging around there, or whatever, and you see as Big Meech is walking out of the house, he tried to hit Big Meech, whatever. You also see Lamar Silas in, further down, he actually goes up to the school which Zoe, went to or whatever, trying to get back in her good graces as well.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of plays into like that old school saying of, you know on to the next person that's on type thing or whatever, which I find it kind of interesting. I'm gonna explain why I find it kind of interesting when we get further down the line into the next episode. But I just want to put that out there. So,
No,
when I
and that's an important part because Lamar sort of, again, he's stirring up trouble because he's trying to get back on, but it's also personal because he's trying to get his family back. And he sees that Meech has, is with his girl. His daughter was scared of him when he showed up at the school. And so again, he has a double mission because I don't
right.
think it's just about getting back on. Now I think it's about getting back on and destroying Meech. So we definitely know that that's going to be a major clash. We see it, we see it already starting up at the end of episode 3, but it's definitely, we see where that's going. We see that that's somebody, that those two giants are going to clash and somebody going to walk away, and we'll figure out how we get there. But that's definitely part of the story too that we see. And so let's talk about the family dynamic a little bit. This episode, it was a lot of the family. We see his mom, we see his dad giving his mom an ultimatum saying, listen, you gotta cut those strings. Like, you keep letting him, I put him out, you let him come back. I put him out, you let him come back. But now you see what he's doing to this family. You've got to cut those strings.
He paid the mortgage.
He did. Now, okay, let me ask you. I'm one of those people. I understand having your values. I understand not wanting your children to be drug dealers. I understand not wanting dirty money. I get all of that. But do you do that at the expense of being on the street, though?
I think when you have your faith the way that seemed like they had their faith, did you just kind of just let go and let God, as the way that's
Mhm.
I say it seems like that they was banking on that more than they was banking on Big Meat's pockets. They just didn't want
Yeah.
that because
And
of
I
their
knew he was gonna pay it. I knew it. I was just waiting for it to happen. I knew he was gonna pay that
yeah
mortgage because they
yeah
kept bringing it up. They kept mentioning it, and I was like, "He gonna pay that mortgage off. He gonna pay that
yeah.
mortgage."
They moral compass was leading them into being out in the streets, but they just figured they had just let go and let God. That was
Right.
probably like their whole thought process behind that. And they didn't want that dirty money,
And I can
washed up.
respect it. I can definitely respect it because I know a lot of people. Again, growing up in DC during that time period, I know a
Mhm.
lot of people whose family talked the talk, but when it came time for bills to be paid or things
Yeah,
to be taken care of, they knew where the
yeah,
money was coming from. And I'm not making no judgments. Let's be clear. What I'm saying, I ain't making any judgments on anybody, but we definitely know that it's easy to say, all right, you go ahead and pay that one bill. You know what I mean? And
right,
it gets comfortable. It get good to you. You know what I'm saying? So there's
right.
no judgment there, but we definitely saw his mom struggling with really cutting the ties with him as her child. Because we know that a mom and her son, especially her firstborn, that's hard. That's a rough one right there.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. But a dad love is even rougher. So, I'm
Yeah.
not, but I'm not saying what his dad was doing was right. He felt as though that he was protecting his family by keeping that stuff away from him because
Right.
he saw the end game. So I think that's what he was.
Yeah.
I think that's what he was doing.
He definitely understood that his children were going in the wrong direction. Now, the other relationship we saw explore was between Meech and the little sister.
Hmm.
And she's angry at them for a variety of reasons. One, she's angry at them because I think she gets lost in the conflict because
Right.
she's the baby, she's the girl, she's probably the good girl that does everything she's supposed to do. So she sort of kind of gets forgotten about in the chaos of Meech and Southwest Terry, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And then she said, "You put me in a position that I always have to lie to our parents. Like, I know
Hmm.
what y'all out here doing, but I gotta lie to them or pretend like I don't know what's going on." And so we saw that relationship explored when they were leaving the hospital and he was giving her a ride home, and she damn near jumped out of the car in the middle of traffic just to get
Right.
away from him.
Right.
So that was definitely a relationship. And I think, again, I think that's going to become important later on because that scene I don't think was put in there for no reason. I think their relationship that we're going to see some things later on in the season. I think with the sister. That could be wrong, but
we definitely are. I'm not gonna get into it because I kind of like know like the history of that, but
okay.
we more than likely we definitely will. And another Detroit reference when they was even sitting at the table like in the first episode and they were talking about the trip, and he was like, "Well, I pay for the Bablo trip." You know, everybody in Detroit know about Bablo, especially if you was born in the '80s. You know, and then you even saw like his father. It just seemed like his father was disgusted by everything that Meech did. He
Well,
had to
still,
love
what's Babalo? You can't just
father's
drop
love.
it. What's Babalo?
Well, Babalo is the amusement park.
Oh, okay. You
Yeah,
can't
so
just
you
throw
had
it out there and
so
then
you
keep talking.
had to take this big old
I
cruise
don't know
ship.
what it is.
You had to take a big old cruise ship in order to get to the Babalo amusement park. You had the
Oh,
Babalo
okay.
boat.
You gotta get on the water, take a little ferry over there. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It was dope. It was
See,
live. I
that
went a
went
couple.
over my head because I didn't know what it was. I went whoop right over my head.
Yeah, yeah. But even then, you see like the disgust that the father had, you know, for what Big Meech was doing, even down to the point where Big Meech, it was time for Big Meech to say the prayer at the table, and he was like, "Yeah, all right, Terry, say the blessings." Kind of
Right.
like overlooked, you know. So the discuss for it. I think we gonna see that like carry on throughout the series, and you know throughout pretty much every episode that they both in.
Definitely. All right. Well, that's. I just want to make sure that because I think episode 2 really focused on showing us the family dynamic, and again, the mom having to make that decision. The other family dynamic we saw is Terry's relationship with his baby's mom.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the baby is born at this point. She had the baby at this point,
Mm-hmm.
and she's camped out at the hospital with him, and worried as she should be. Your boyfriend gets shot really right in front of your house. Like, you're definitely nervous, you're definitely worried about it. What I mean, without getting into what you already know, just based on what we kind of saw, I mean, how do you feel about their dynamic, their relationship?
Um. Yeah, that's kind of hard to do because it's based off what I already know. I think she's definitely a ride or, like I don't want to use the cliche ride or die, but she's definitely by his side. Definitely with like with whatever he says, she's kind of with it. It might be a little pushback. She might not even like it, but she's with it. As we can get into it in season. I mean, I'm sorry, in episode 3. Where she displays that even further. But she didn't want to, leave his side. You saw like in a prior episode where the baby shower, she didn't want to lead it. From the baby shower, she like, I want you to meet all my, people,
Right. Right, because
whatever,
that was
whatever.
before the trend of men going to the baby showers. That's a new thing. Like that's new with the men. It's a co-ed baby shower. That's some new stuff right there. So
Yeah, definitely, because it was like, nah, we ain't going to no baby shower. You crazy?
right, right. That was that. But that wasn't an unusual thing for him to be like, yeah, I don't want to go to the baby shower. Like that's not
No,
crazy
that wasn't. But you can
at
see
that
like
time.
you can see how she displays her loyalty in several parts of of their interaction. Whether it's when they at the house, talking about the baby shower after he got shot, or when he
Mhm.
got shot, and they're on it. Therefore, even into upcoming episodes, which we discussed. But you can see definitely her loyalty is there.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So I feel like we kind of got all of the family dynamics. Like I said, in episode 2, we saw the Lamar moving chess pieces, figuring some things out. Like you said, now at the end of episode 2, we saw two things go down. The dirty cop delivered the head of 12th Street Boys to Meech.
Mm-hmm.
He was very specific, and he told Meech, "Don't kill him.
Ruffle his feathers, but
Ruffle his
that's it.
feathers, but don't kill him."
Mm-hmm.
Now, while that conversation was happening, simultaneously we saw Lamar beating up, damn near killing, which I thought he had killed the boy, damn near killing the second in command.
Yeah, for Mill.
So the top two lieutenants of the 12th Street crew are basically in danger of, are in grave danger at the same time. Now, Meech, he beat him up. Oh, we're going to come back to the Kilpatrick thing. He beat him up a little bit, or a lot. He really whooped his ass, but he wasn't going to kill him.
Right.
Because he wasn't sure. I feel like something in him said, I don't think you did it.
Right.
But the problem was, like we said before, he had to figure out a way to save face. Now, his boy was there the whole time, like, yo, you need to do something. Because he knew the crew was talking behind Meech's back. Basically, like, he ain't doing nothing. He's soft. He gonna let this go. We looking like punks, right? Like all of that was out there.
It's the untold street conversation. It don't matter if he did it. Everybody think he did it. So therefore, you gotta take care of it.
Exactly. And that's your brother. Like, if you won't defend your brother, your crew is looking at you like, well, if you won't defend your brother, what happens to us?
Right.
So do you think in that position, okay, just street code, I ain't talking about your morals. Street code, what was Meech supposed to do?
Kill him.
He's supposed to kill him?
Yeah, because it don't matter whether or not he actually did it. Unfortunately, that's just the rules of the streets. Unfortunately, even if he didn't do it, everybody else think that he did it. And in your line of business, you don't need everybody else thinking you no type of like Southwest T said, looking like some fucking hoes. So
yeah.
Because so at the end of the day, you got to take care of that.
Because T sort of went, because at first T was like, focus on the money, focus on the money, focus on the money. But then he was also like, yo, are you taking care of who did this to me? It was sort of like you know what I'm saying? It was sort of like a double dynamic there. He kind of went back and forth with that one a little bit.
He don't want to look soft. I think that was what Southwest T issue was. He just didn't want to. He was about respect. Like, he was about his money, but he also was about respect. And when he felt as though he was disrespected or somebody was stepping his toes, then he needed to get put back in line.
Right. It was definitely that. So we see. So we definitely got that. I lost my train of thought real quick. But we also see, as far as another dynamic that we saw going on, again, I don't know how major this becomes later on down the road, but Southwest T also has a little bit of a nemesis, one of his classmates whose name is Kwame. Now, we were talking offline about whether are they alluding to this maybe being Kwame Kilpatrick, who ended up becoming the mayor, or is it just a name that they throwing out there? Like, what do you think? I mean,
that I don't know. Like, when they said Kwame, the first thing that popped in my head was, is this Kwame Kilpatrick? Because why do significant? Like, we didn't have to see that unless he played some type of role.
Yeah, because they kept bringing him up. We saw that they had the exchange at school, then they had the exchange at the club, and then Meech approached him like, did you shoot my brother? He was like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't really rock with your brother like that, but I ain't shoot him.
Right. Kwame Kilpatrick was, as far as I know, allegedly 1 foot in and 1 foot out of things. As far as I know, allegedly.
Yeah.
So when they said the name, that was the first thing I actually thought of. But the crazy thing is, Kwame, as far as I know, Kwame went to Cass Tech High School, which is a school, close to Detroit, versus going to Southwestern, which is the school that Big Meech and Southwest T, went to, because they was from Southwest Detroit.
Right.
So one was actually born in Ohio, and then the other one was born in Detroit. Big Meech was born in Ohio, and Southwest T was born in Detroit. But at some point, they both went to Southwest High School, and I don't recall Southwestern High School, and I don't recall any conversation of Kwame Kilpatrick going to Southwestern High School. He went to Cass Tech. So
yeah, he went to Cass Tech. But again, we know this is based on a true story. It's not word for word. So maybe there's certain things like that's one of those things. We'll have to see how if the writers continue to push it.
Another little Easter egg. When Southwest T walked into school, you see him talk to a white guy.
Right.
Now, the white guy, I'm assuming, was supposed to be white boy Rick, who was also a drug. Like, if you followed the show, we do know that later on that white boy Rick is gonna be played by Eminem.
Right.
So like I was like, we didn't have to see that either, but they threw that in there. That's why I got me thinking like, well, we didn't have to see this part of the show, but they put that in there, so it has to be Kwame Kilpatrick and it has to be white boy Rick.
Okay. Well, we're definitely again. It's something like you said. As an Easter egg for us to kind of look forward to, because again, you know, most people know who Kwame Kilpatrick is, but we definitely know he ended up becoming mayor of Detroit. But we also know that there was a whole lot. I mean, he ended up going to jail, so we know, and even before that, there was a lot of stuff that during his administration he was linked to. Whether again, all allegedly. I ain't saying he did nothing.
Right.
I ain't saying
he's out now, so that's all we know.
Yeah, he's out now. He out now, but what he went to jail for is not even close to the stuff that he was accused of getting into. So
no, we not. That's a whole other thing.
Right. That's what I said.
We know he's out now.
Right. Allegedly.
Allegedly. That's what we gonna say. That's what we gonna say. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Right. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So Meech doesn't end up killing him, but his second in command ends up doing it. And he basically is telling Meech, listen, you wasn't going to do it, and it had to be done.
Facts.
Problem now is Dirty Cop told him, don't kill him.
Right.
Now, do you think Dirty Cop really had an expectation that Meech wasn't going to kill this boy?
I think so. Honestly.
I think so too. I think he felt like Meech would respect the boundary. Like, I'm telling you, I'm bringing him to you, and I'm telling you what to do and what not to do. And I feel like he thought Meech would respect that, which Meech was. It wasn't Meech that killed him. Meech was. So he's dead. So that's
he shouldn't have brought his mans though. He shouldn't have brought his guy.
Right. Like, he should have left it to the two of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Two of them
you left too much. You left too much room for opportunity for somebody to do anything. You shouldn't have brought your mans. That's the way that, you know what I'm saying? That's the way you wanted to handle it. You shouldn't have brought your guy.
Yeah. So that's that. And then we got Lamar damn near killing the second in command on the other side of town.
Yeah, for Mel.
Now I thought he was dead. I was like, I really thought that he killed him, but we found out at the beginning of episode 3 that he just fucked up real bad. Like, he in the hospital, he's real bad. Like,
right. Yeah.
So that's how episode 2 ends, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going into episode 3. We got Southwest T coming out of jail. I mean, coming out the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
We get a cameo from Snoop Dogg.
As a pastor,
praying over him, glad that he back home. Now I don't know if you picked up, but there's something between the father and the pastor and the mom. Like, the father ain't feeling Snoop. He ain't feeling the pastor. Yeah, he ain't real friendly with him. He ain't feeling him at all. So yeah. I don't know if there's a reason for it. I don't know if we're gonna get anything deeper, because even later on in the episode, when he finds out the mortgage was paid, he thinks the pastor did it.
Right.
He don't even think Meech did it. He think the pastor did. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know if there's something there, or it's just his imagination, thinking there's something going on there. I don't know.
Probably just I don't know, man. You grabbing her hand a little too hard, ain't you? Like, you probably just man.
Yeah, he was peeping it. He was definitely peeping what was going on. Like, hold up here. Like, I don't know.
He had to cut his eyes in the middle of prayer. Like, hold on, bro.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like, hold on, player. Like,
he was a little extra. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot. So we had that, and then we have again, Meech and his mom, that dynamic. Meech ended up paying the mortgage, which we already talked about, and the mom is like, listen, I asked you not to get involved. Now I got to figure out how to tell your damn daddy. Because I don't want you to do it, but at this point it's done. But I already know how your daddy is going to react. So please don't say nothing until I figure out how to tell him.
Well, we forgot a significant part, because it starts off with Pat pulling up on Big Meech, you know what I'm saying, telling him like, yo, you behind, you owe money. You know what I'm saying? So what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? What do you do about getting this money? And Big Meech is like, well, I'm dealing with my brother shooting, whatever. I never be behind. I'm gonna get you your money. you know. But Pat ain't trying to hear none of that, you know. And he has a reason why he don't really give a shit about none of that. He was like, I'm gonna give you 6 days, and I'm charging you 10 points, which is 10%,
Right.
because he didn't want Big Meech to be bigger than him. He
He
saw,
saw it. Yeah, he saw it
yeah,
coming. He
he saw,
definitely was nervous and intimidated by what they were doing. He definitely and
mm-hmm.
again I'm sure he felt like they're outgrowing me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he definitely was that was a perfect opportunity for him to put his foot on Meech's neck, because I don't think
Yeah.
he anticipated Meech being able to get the money together in that time period. Like he
He
definitely
didn't.
didn't anticipate it.
Nope.
But you're right. That's a major part of episode 2. I was just getting into that. But so let's talk a little bit more about that. So Pat pulls up on him, and so Meech now has to figure some things out because their territory is dry. Ain't nobody
Mm-hmm.
buying nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? His brother is like, "What's going on? Like, I told you to focus on the business. I told you not to get into this. I told you to focus on the business." Right? But I thought this episode showed Meech's brilliance, because they
Mm-hmm.
got very innovative, right? He figured out they had food trucks down at the plant, but you have food trucks on the inside and then you have food trucks on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
And he figured out, if I could get on the inside and I can sell to the dudes on payday, that's a gold mine waiting to happen. And so they end up linking up with a dude who had a food truck. They paid for his permit to get inside the fence. And they
Mm-hmm.
basically were like, we're going to use your food truck. Like, we're going to sling dope. You can sell your food, do what you do, but we also going to use your truck to sling our dope. And it was very
Mm-hmm.
innovative the way he did it. He was down at the strip club, getting close to the dudes in the plant, giving them freebies, saying, listen, if you like it, I'm going to holler at you. And what's the face rolled up on him at the strip club and was like, well, what the hell you doing?
Oh, Pat.
Yeah.
Yo, he popped up like the boogeyman. Like, he just popped up like it was Candyman. I was like, what the fuck? Where the fuck he come from?
Right, and
It
that's
was
what
crazy.
Meech was like, where the fuck did he come from?
Yeah, it was crazy, but
But he rolled
yeah,
up on him. He was like, listen, you dropping my money at the strip club, then you must be good. So I'm cutting your time. You need to get,
yeah,
instead of 6 days, you got 4 days.
yeah.
But the minute they set that system up, it was like hotcakes. Like, it
It
was
was,
like hotcakes.
it was,
So that's
and
why I was saying,
it was
that
perfect.
it's sort of, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was saying it was perfect.
Yeah. So that's why I was saying that it sort of was a situation where they had to be innovative, but it worked out in their favor. Like, with his back against the wall, when he was like, how the hell we gonna move all this product so we can give Pat his money? He got real innovative and set up a system that is like flawless. Like, dudes was coming out, because what they call it, the special burger or the daily burger or
The rock
something.
burger or something
The
like
rock
that. The
burger or
rocket burger,
something.
something
And
like
dudes
that.
was like,
Yeah.
let me get 5 orders of that rock burger. Like, it was boom, 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 boom,
And you
boom.
looking at it, is $50 a pack, is $50 for a bag. You selling 5, like, dude just came up and just got 5. You just made that money in like 10 minutes. So it caught on quick.
Right. So they ended up being able to give Pat his money, which of course I don't think he anticipated that happening. I definitely don't
want
think
that to happen.
He didn't. Not only did he not want it to happen, but I don't think he anticipated it happening either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But something happened when he went to go take Pat his money. He realized Pat is using his own product.
Yeah, right. That threw me for a loop, because by him being an OG, it seemed like he would know better.
Yeah.
Yeah. That threw me for a loop.
And I think in Meech's mind, you saw disappointment in it, but I also think that he was thinking, okay, I got a door in. I got a back door into this.
I think a little air came out of the balloon when Meech saw that, because he looked up to him so much.
Yeah.
And a little air came out of the balloon. But prior to that, Meech and Southwest T was already plotting on, getting their own stuff, because like Southwest T said, he said we was renting it. It's not our own stuff. We was renting it. And I think that kind of like concluded that was a conclusion for Meech to move forward and getting their own stuff. That was kind of like all right, we talked about it. Now we definitely need to make this happen because he using.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
To
I
me,
guess I
that's what I
think he
saw.
saw that back door. I think they saw the door. They saw how they was going because again, it's only a matter of time for him to allow himself to get caught slipping like that. For Meech to even see him like that, it's only a matter of time. For at least I feel like in Meech's mind, he was like, all right, it's only a matter of time before he gonna become a junkie. And that's our way in. Like that's how we can get in. So I think, I feel like I saw Meech's mind like tick, 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 ticking, right? We also saw where Lamar basically got back with his girl and Meech got kicked to the curb.
I'm gonna tell you what. Here's the crazy thing, because I argue with people on that, and I tell them like that's really how it happens. Like Lamar fell off, so she went to the dude who was on at the time. Lamar got back on, and guess what? She went right back to Lamar. Like he weaseled his way right in. Even my man said, when have you known Lamar not to be able to snake his way out of anything? Like, or somebody had said that. We would get to that part. He can snake his way out of anything, or into anything. And I think that's exactly what he did. You see, he got a haircut. He got a little bit more jewelry on now.
Right.
So he's looking better. It seemed like he's doing better.
Yep.
He ended up playing Monopoly, which is one of my favorite board games, by the way.
No, you can't beat me in no Monopoly. You ain't trying to see me in no Monopoly.
I kick ass in Monopoly. I beat people ass in Monopoly.
I kick ass in Monopoly too. So we have to
I run blocks and corners in Monopoly. That's what I do. That's it. That's what I do. Don't let me get the railroads, but I digress. So you see him playing Monopoly with the kid, it is she calling him daddy and all that type of stuff. What you see him like Monique is the girl's name, this cashed out character, and that seems like Monique is just kind of like eating that up. She already told him, get yourself back on your feet, and then we could talk about it. And once he got on, and she saw that he was doing better, and Big Meech was just another little dude on the corner.
Yep, yeah, and she kicked him to the curb like he was too. She just ghosted him. She just started returning his pay.
Yeah, he was like, "I paid you. I call you. What the hell?"
Right, he do the pull up. She was like, "So you think that means you can just roll up on my house?" I'm like, "Damn."
Yes. If I'm giving your daughter,
right? Like I feel like that does
clothes for your daughter. Yes.
Right. I feel like that does give me a right to show up at your house. Yes,
it does. What are you talking? Are you crazy?
Like, hello. What are you talking about? So
you wildin'.
Right. So now Meech, he's steaming because he see that Lamar's snaking his way through. Lamar's also working his way up the ranks because he done got the rest of the 12th Street boys basically answering to him. So he's definitely playing a chess game, and he seemed to be actually coming out on top at this point with the chess game. He pays a visit to the hospital, and he lets your boy know, listen, when you get better, you get discharged, you need to take a long trip.
You need to go up to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. You need to go sightseeing. Whatever you do, you better not come back to Detroit, Ecorse, River Rouge, or anywhere in this area.
Yeah, it's a wrap. Yeah, you're done. You're done, sir. You're done.
So when they was talking to the team, about what's going on, at the Famil, at the J-Mo didn't show up and Famil got his ass kicked, there was like, oh, it sounded like the 50 boys is all over this and the other.
Again, we talking about playing chess.
Right.
He's positioning himself, even though he's putting all these pieces in motion. He's positioning himself to make it seem like that it's the 50 boys versus the 12th Street boys going at war, and he's really the one that put all the players in place. You think he's the one that shot Southwest T?
Honestly, we don't know. I mean, let me stop, because I'm going based off of what I really know, the true stories and the books and all the stuff that I heard. At first, if you don't know, you probably would think that that's the person who shot, Southwest T. If you don't know, but going based off of what I do know, they're not 100% sure. There's been rumors speculating that it was over something else that had nothing really necessarily to do that it had something to do with the likeness of the name, because there was somebody else called Southwest T who was also a big drug dealer that was in Detroit. Okay. And they felt as though that branding, because that's what Southwest T was doing in marketing, that was what he was using in order to brand himself. And rumor has it that person didn't like it. Allegedly, that person didn't like it.
So it could have been right. So basically, it could. I mean, the real story. We don't know how they're gonna play it out on the show, but the real story is we don't know who did it. Okay, got it.
Right.
But on the show, all the fingers point to Lamar. Now it could be that he did it, or it could be just a very lucky coincidence that fell into place in his grand scheme anyway.
Facts. Okay. So we just have to. So especially because the type of person that Lamar is, they said that he didn't really have. He put a rapper next to a beehive, like tied him up next to a beehive. I'm not sure how true it is, but in the show, he said he tied him up to a beehive and was letting the rapper get stung next to a beehive. You have to be. That's out of the box thinking torture right there.
Right. Yeah. Like, the level of torture is crazy.
Like that's crazy. So they just show, like, with them saying that just displays the level of craziness and the level and the distance that he'll go to get whatever it is that he wants.
Definitely. That's definitely it. That is definitely it. So we got that going on. Now, while all these different things are moving around, we see Dirty Cop is doing everything in his power to try to protect Meech. But now we're finding out that the feds are coming into Detroit. They realizing that what's his name? The head of 12th Street Boys.
Lamar Silas.
No, not Lamar.
Oh, you're talking about J-Mo. I'm sorry, J-Mo.
Right. We find out that he's missing. And so, of course, Cop rolls up on Meech like, what the hell? Like, I told you don't kill him. Like, where is he? And Meech plays dumb, but he tells his father, he tells his brother the truth. Like, yeah, we smoked him. Like, it is. But the feds are coming in, and he lets him know, listen, the feds are here, and I can't help you. Like, I can't do nothing for you. Like, my movement is going to be very, very, very much monitored, and it ain't a whole lot I can do. So the tides are already turning. This again, early on, we see the tides are turning, but again, we know that they end up leaving Detroit and going to Atlanta. So it'll be interesting again to see how that plays itself.
You know what I love to see though, because I would love to see, like, if you see in the previews, he says, you still need me as much as I need you. I want to see the ties that he have with that cop. Like, how are they tied?
How did they get there?
Yeah, how did they get to that point? Going back to going back to episode 1, it seems like that he was the old baseball coach, but that might have been a metaphor for something else, because you see he kind of speaking in codes.
Right.
When they're talking about moving a lady off the streets so they could post up at that park, at Ecourse Recreation Center, and they could pitch their weight out there. He was like, so what you gonna do about the umpire? The dugout, and making baseball references in order to, have that conversation, undetected. So I'm wondering, was he really his baseball coach, or is it something else?
I'm wondering how they built it. Yeah, that's definitely interesting on how they built that relationship.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. I'm definitely interested in seeing that. That's a big part of this is really catching me and grasping my attention, because I want to see how they got to that level. And shout out to the brothers is in the same movie for once, because that's Will Harris' brother.
But haven't they been in? I think they've been in stuff together before. I thought maybe not.
I don't think so.
I don't know. But poor Wood Harris, he's so typecast. I mean, I shouldn't say that because he's played other roles, but his most famous roles are drug dealers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean,
he has played other roles. I've seen him in other things, but I mean, listen.
He was the manager for New Edition.
Right. He was right.
But yeah, he my guy. All the way back to above the rim, he my guy.
Right. Oh, I definitely love Wood Harris. I love Wood Harris. So we absolutely so when we look at is that everything that we cover? No. So it's at the end of episode 3, We see they having a skate party, or I mean a bowling party, excuse me, for Southwest T for him getting out of the hospital and being all right. And your girl,
Kato.
Damn, I gotta write these names down. Kato, we see her in the bathroom, and kind of find out her and Lamar have some sort of a connection, and she's really Lamar's inside girl.
Yo, that's the biggest thing that I really want to know, because I
that
don't
threw
know
me
anything
off.
about that story. I'm not really sure, like, knowing the history of it a little bit, I'm not really sure if Kato is a fictional name. That name was just embellished, because there was a female that was dealing with well, she was dealing with BMF. I'm sorry, she wasn't dealing with the 50 boys. So I'm gonna sit back and watch, but I'm interested in that relationship as well, because I think that Kato might be setting Lamar to get lined up by the 50 boys to try to figure it out. I think that Kato's setting Lamar
it
up.
started making sense. It started making sense because I was like, she be asking a lot of questions that I don't necessarily feel like it's her business. You know what I'm saying? Like, it definitely made me sort of pause and be like, okay, but it looked like she wasn't really trying to give him too much. But whatever he got on her, I think part of it is she just scared of him, but whatever it is, he was like, listen, you're not giving me what I want. I want to know where the stash is. I want to know when they pick it up, when they drop it off. I want to know all of the ins, the outs, the ups and the downs. Like, I want to know everything. So that's sort of where we left off with that. And then we see that, the 12th Street boys basically then infiltrated the whole party. And it's about to be a problem.
Yeah.
It's about to be a problem.
Yeah. I think they just want to let them know that they was here, and Lamar is kind of running the show, and we know that you jump for Mill, and J Mo is missing, so we hear, we know it, and we gonna address it at some point.
Right. Yeah, definitely we're here, and you're gonna deal with us. Like,
you got to see us sometime soon.
Yeah, you're gonna have to come and see us. So all right, so that's pretty much episodes 1, 2, and 3 in a nutshell. Anything we didn't touch on that's like you feel like we need to kind of double back on? And
no, I'm extremely interested in the show. I like the show. It may be because I'm from Detroit, but so far so good for me.
I don't dislike the show. It just moved. Like, that first episode, I think I had whiplash. It just moved. It was a lot. I feel like they put a lot in the first episode. You know what I mean? We saw at the school, and we saw them, sneaking guns into the arena, and we having a whole, like, there was no background to this whole showdown between them and the 50 boys. We just I mean, in the 12th Street boys, it was just they showed up and they got beef, and I'm like, but we didn't even.
It was
like, it was just a lot in the beginning.
It was so many moving parts to the drug game in Detroit back then. Even though I was born in the 80s, but you hear, stories and newspaper clippings and stuff like that. I was probably like 8 or 9 around the time this stuff was actually going on or something like that. But you hear so many stories and so many different people. You had YBI, you had the Puritan Boys, you had stuff that was going on at the Brewster Projects. You had a lot, going on at that time. You had Maserati Rick. Well, Maserati Rick might have been a little bit. He definitely was a lot older than Big Beach and Southwest. But it was just so many stories and so many moving parts to the drug game that was back then. That can all be rolled into this. So some of the stuff you might have to fast forward, because this can go forever.
Yeah, the fact that we have we know we got a season 2 whenever, and this is what we had to deal with Raising Kanan book 3. Now that we know that there's gonna be a season 2, are they gonna slow the story down because they know they got at least another season to tell the story, or is it already a wrap and we moving into whatever, you know what I'm saying? So we're not quite sure how that affects how fast or slow this moves. I mean, I think they're done filming season 1, but it's just a matter of, did they film season 1 kind of knowing that there was going to be a season 2? And so they, you know what I mean? Like,
they can have like 15 seasons, honestly, just on BMF alone. Because we're looking at something that happened from mid to late 80s to, I think Big Meech got locked up in 2004. And Southwest T just got out this year, or
Right.
maybe last year. Because
Yeah,
it's
because
just so much
he
stuff. You
one of
got
them is out, right?
Southwest T is out.
Okay.
You got so much stuff that went on. That I'm not gonna get into because I don't want to drop any spoilers. But it's just so much stuff that went on behind. Right now we just dealing with 50. We just dealing with 50 boys. We didn't even get to the point where they start calling themselves BMF. We didn't get
Right.
to the point where they, start. BMF had over 200 employees. So you can look at 200 different stories that's attached to BMF. Not
Right.
only mention the artists, the mainstream artists that was attached to them, the Brad, Fabulous, Diddy.
Right.
It's a lot to unpack with BMF. And when Big Me said in an interview, he said, "You ain't gonna never see a crew ever like this ever again. You won't, not even close."
I mean, the longevity of it alone, like, is deep. Like, you know, definitely that. So, well, that's episodes 1 through 3. We are all caught up. I'm a hopefully we can get the rest of this season in. Because
We'll get the rest of the
it's
season
probably
in.
10 episodes.
I'm not sure how many episodes it is, but we definitely gonna get the rest of the season in. I definitely enjoy being on this platform. We definitely gonna get the rest of the season in.
All right, and hopefully next time we can get Marvin up here. I know he got a lot of stuff he's dealing with, but hopefully next
Right.
time we can get Marvin up here and get his perspective because I know he's watching it too. So
Most definitely, and I appreciate you having me on.
no problem, no problem. Thanks for coming through, and we'll hopefully see y'all next time.
All right,
All right,
big what up, though, and I'll holler at y'all later.
all right. I know you still don't have your social media, so ain't no need.